Anthropic just shipped the smartest AI model on the planet, and OpenAI still shipped the better tool to actually use it in. For the first time, those are two different companies. If you have spent this whole year arguing about which model is best, you have been asking the wrong question. So let me show you the receipts. On May 28, 42 days after OpenAI's GPT 5.5, Anthropic dropped Claude Opus 4.8. And here is the part almost no lab ever does. In their own announcement, Anthropic called it, quote, a modest but tangible improvement, a frontier lab describing its own release as minor. So is it actually minor? The benchmarks tell a very different story. Start with raw intelligence. On the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index, Opus 4.8 retook the number one spot overall, 61.4 to GPT 5.5's 60.2. On SWE-bench Pro, the hard, real-world coding test, Opus jumped to 69.2%. GPT 5.5 sits at 58.6. That is a 10-point lead. It also wins on GDPval, on OSWorld computer use, and on humanity's last exam with tools. By the numbers, Opus 4.8 is the most capable model available right now. Modest, it is not. But there is one benchmark Opus loses. And it happens to be the one that maps closest to how you actually code all day: terminal bench. This measures a model driving a real terminal agent. On the exact same public harness, GPT 5.5 wins 78.2 to 74.6. And running inside its own Codex command line tool, GPT 5.5 climbs to 83.4. The smarter model loses the agentic terminal race. Here is why that matters. The harness, the tool wrapped around the model, matters almost as much as the model itself. GPT 5.5 was tuned to drive Codex's terminal agent. And there is a hidden cost. Independent testing found Opus 4.8 uses about 30% more turns to finish the same task. Smarter per step, but slower and pricier across the whole job. Intelligence on a benchmark and productivity in your editor are simply not the same thing. And that is just the model layer. The bigger gap is the tool you run it in. While everyone argued about benchmark decimals, OpenAI quietly turned Codex into the most complete daily coding harness shipping today. Look at what actually landed in just the last few weeks. Computer use now runs on Windows and Mac, so Codex can see, click, and type inside real desktop apps. Remote control lets you kick off a job on your machine and watch it from ChatGPT on your phone. App shots let you hit a hotkey and drop whatever window you are looking at straight into a Codex thread. Goal mode went fully general, so you define an outcome and it works toward it for hours. Add an in-app browser for your local dev server and a Mac app that reviewers keep calling best in class. Now, the honest other side, because nobody is strictly winning here. That polished Codex desktop app is Mac only. Its Amazon Bedrock support is still a limited preview. Windows computer use is foreground only, and it is not even live in Europe or the UK yet. And Anthropic held Opus 4.8's price flat at $5 and $25 per million tokens, with a fast mode 3 times cheaper than before. So this is not a blowout. It is a genuine split. Which is why the right question in 2026 is not which model is best. It is two questions. 1. Which harness fits the way you actually work? If you live in a terminal and you want phone remote and computer use, Codex is very hard to beat. 2. Which model do you point it at for the genuinely hard problems? When a task needs the deepest reasoning or the toughest refactor, Opus 4.8 is now the sharpest blade in the drawer. So here is the uncomfortable truth. The developers pulling ahead this year do not pick a team. They run the best tool They swap the best model into it, and they switch the moment the leaderboard flips. Model loyalty is the amateur move. The pros are loyal to the workflow, not the logo. The companies will keep trading the crown every 6 weeks. Your job is to stop watching the fight and start using both corners. I turned all of this into a one-page decision matrix: which model and which harness for every kind of task, with the verified benchmark numbers baked in. Comment the word harness and I will send it to you free. Bite size AI drops live on Instagram at Hyperautomation Labs. The deep dives live here on YouTube. So subscribe, because the crown is going to change hands again, and I will have the receipts when it does.